Good morning. This morning, I want us to take a real practical look at prayer through the experience of two men. One, a great man in Israel's history, and another, a great man, recent man in Southern Baptist history, and then into your own life. Let's start with recent history. T.W. Hunt was a great prayer warrior in our convention, a teacher in seminary as well, but he tells the story. He only died about 6 years ago at the age of 85. He tells the story about in his early years having worked in a Christian bookstore, and he noticed the owner of the store, people would come to him at the bookstore, share their concerns and problems with him. Next thing he knew, they would disappear, and later he found they'd go to this room that he set aside especially for prayer. Well, that stirred up in TW the desire to develop prayer in his own life, and being a very systematic person in a lot of other ways, he took the Bible and went through every prayer in the Bible. And you know, he found one thread that was common to every prayer that was answered in the Bible, every prayer in the Bible, basically. And that thread was that the people who prayed gave God one of his own reasons to answer the prayer. Well, that brings us to the person in Israel's history, the very practical Nehemiah. And I want to share with you the prayer that Nehemiah prayed. He was the cupbearer to the king of Persia. His brother had come to visit him, and he asked how the people who had returned to Jerusalem were doing. And the brother said this, "Things are not going well for those who return to the province of Judah. They are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem has been torn down, and the gates have been burned." Listen to Nehemiah's response. "When I heard this, I sat down and wept. In fact, for days I mourned, fasted, and prayed to the God of heaven." Now, as I read Nehemiah's prayer, I want you to pick out the reasons, God's own reasons, to answer this prayer. He said, "O Lord, God of heaven, the great and awesome God who keeps his covenant of unfailing love with those who love him and obey his commands, listen to my prayer. Look down and see my praying night and day for your people, Israel. I confess that we have sinned against you. Yes, even my own family and I have sinned. We have sinned terribly. Please remember what you told your servant Moses. If you sin, I will scatter you among the nations, but if you return to me and obey my commands, even if you're exiled to the ends of the earth, I'll bring you back to the place I've chosen for my name to be honored. We are your servants, the people you rescued by your great power and might. Oh Lord, please hear my prayer. Listen to my prayers for those of us who delight in honoring you. Please grant me success now as I go to ask the king for a great favor. Put it into his heart to be kind to me." Well, God answered that prayer, and Nehemiah was given the privilege of rebuilding the wall that had protected Israel all those years. Now, here's the real question. How can you follow Nehemiah's example today? Well, I think you could start right now making a list of all of God's names. Did you notice Nehemiah said, "Oh God, oh Yahweh"? That means the ever-present God. We looked at that one time in one of our devotions. The God of heaven, the great and awesome God. And also the things that he does, who keeps his covenant of unfailing love. And start thinking about the reasons that God might want to answer your prayer. Because we are your people, Nehemiah said. And what you told your servant Moses, that in this case, after you've scattered us, if we return, you will restore us to the place you've chosen for your name to be honored. Please answer the prayer of those who delight in honoring your name. So as you begin to develop this catalog of reasons that God might answer the thing that you're praying for, that are His reasons, your confidence in prayer will grow, and prayer for you will become like it became for Nehemiah and TW. A lifelong journey of knowing Him and seeing Him at His work in your life and praise. Sound good, huh?